I'm Mark Luke, a member of the Boardman Civic Association. We're here tonight to inform Boardman residents and interested community members on the candidates and issues on the November 2nd general election ballot. We appreciate those in attendance this evening and those watching live streaming and on taped rebroadcast. You have many news and entertainment options afforded to you. You're choosing to be an informed electorate and voter. We thank you for that consideration of your civic duties. We're also thankful for the Boardman Civic Association's membership and board, as well as the Boardman Park staff and commissioners for all of their valuable support. We ask all of you in attendance to please abide by the posted health department guidelines this evening. At this time, if you're able, please stand for a Pledge of Allegiance and an invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome back. How was that dinner from a la carte catering? Pretty good? Good? Okay. Good. That's great. Thank you very much. We're very excited to be here again. This is the Boardman Civic Association's election forum for all issues and candidates coming on the November 2nd ballot. I'd like to do some thank yous, some introductions before we get started with our forum. We, of course, thank our Boardman Schools Television Network for being here tonight. Their advisor, John Hullabaugh, also Amy Radinovic, as well as students, Eliana Holt, Dominic Motorelli, and Antonio Jacobson. Thank you for being here this evening. And for Karen McAllen for live streaming on our Boardman Civic Association Facebook page. Some introduction of guests with us here this evening. We have Mahoney County Commissioner Anthony Trafficante. Anthony, welcome. Mahoney County Probate Court Judge Robert Rusu. Judge. Mahoney County Area Court Judge Joseph Hauser. Judge. I'd also like to recognize our Boardman Civic Association Board of Directors, our President Tom Testa, Vice President Meg Harris, Treasurer Jeff Barone, and board members Marty Bushy, George Ferris, Stephanie Landers, Karen McCallum, Tim Saxton, Dan Segul, Rick Schaefer, Joe Sylvester Jr., Kathy McNabb Welsh, and Kevin Willis. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Well, I'm going to introduce him to speak later, Judge, but thank you. Our county engineer, Pat Ginnetti, is here with us tonight also. Very good. And you get time up here as well, so that's pretty good. Well, what is the Boardman Civic Association? It's a group of local business, civic, and community leaders interested in the general welfare and development of Boardman Township. We have quarterly meetings to receive updates on matters in the township, as well as our news on the schools, park systems, and business environment. Our dinner meetings and events include our annual awards dinner meeting coming up October 18th, annual scholarship dinner, which we'll have in the spring of next year, and a September general election forum, which we're having here this evening. Membership is well worth your time, and if you're interested, please stop at the table on your way out this evening. We always like to have a little history mention, or maybe I do, but I have the microphone, so I get to do what I want up here, basically. And I'm sure when I say history of September 20th, you're all going back to 1519 and Ferdinand Magellan and the 270 men and his 3 ships starting out for their circumnavigation of the globe. Right? Everybody was with? Okay, good. Moving forward a little bit, okay, September 20th, 1905, a little local, or more local than Ferdinand Magellan, the Cleveland Indians make an American League record 7 errors in 1 inning. And continue that tradition in 2021 as they followed it up with an 8th error, renaming the team the Guardians. Okay, not much of a response there. I'm Ron Burgundy up here. I'm just reading what's on the paper. I don't, stay classy, Boardman. Okay, on September 20th, 1913, this is a little better. The greatest upset in sports history occurred. This is legitimate. I did write this. The U.S. Open men's golf tournament, 20-year-old amateur Francis Ouimet, right, won his only Open title in an 18-hole playoff by 5 strokes, defeating Britain's Harry Varden and Ted Ray. An amateur defeated 2 professionals. That is the greatest upset in sports history. All right, there you go. You can live with that one? Yeah, that's okay. More legitimate than the Indians? Yeah. Guardians? Okay. Well, getting back to our forum this evening, many times, colloquially and in our country, we say we live in a democracy, and we do not. We live in a representative republic. That's very different. However, on the local level, our systems of government and the election process does very much act like a democracy, which brings us to here this evening to our election forum. Speakers this evening are from the levy issues and contested races on the November ballot and met the RSVP guidelines in our invitation letter. The forum is not a debate. It is an informational format, as well as an opportunity to meet the candidates and issues representatives in person. We will not be entertaining audience questions during the forum. If you wish to address a candidate or speaker, we ask that you do so after the forum has concluded. Speakers will present in last name alphabetical order and will have 3 minutes to introduce themselves or their issue. Mr. Dan Segul will be timekeeper. Dan is the man right there. Wave everything you have there, Dan. Very good. Dan is the timekeeper. So please, you have your 3 minutes, and then we'll do 1 minute for each question that we have. But if Dan is waving that sign at you, please be aware of that. Questions will be asked to each candidate in the race, though we each have 1 minute to respond. So first up, we will do our issues, and we ask Township Trustee Larry Moliterno to come up to address the Boardman Township levy. Larry?
In keeping with Mark's theme, I just realized that on September 20th, 1985, I had a full head of hair. So those are my memories. We're going back, so thank you. It's always fun when I came in the room 3 minutes ago and I was told that I'm going to talk about the levy renewal. But I will mention that our administrator in the township, Jason Lurie, was planning on being here and has some family health issues. And I will ask if you all kind of keep Jason's family in your prayers and your thoughts and for what they're going through right now. So I'm going to talk just very briefly about this 3 mil renewal levy for Boardman Township. It's a general levy. I think it was put on in the 1970s. It generates about $1.7 million to our operations in Boardman Township. And just to give you, and by the way, this is no new dollars. It's just a renewal. But to give you a sense of how important these renewals are, this is money that goes into our general fund. And as an example, about 2/3 of our fire department is actually funded through the general fund. So it kind of gives you a sense of how important it is that these renewals are kept up. We've tried to make a commitment not to ask for any new money, and it's been quite a number of years now. Actually, we've tried to maintain our operating budget. The actual amount of money that goes out for services has been maintained pretty steady for the last 10 years, even though we've gotten lots of cuts and we've had to make other kind of changes to our operations in order to continue to operate. The other thing that we want to say is that in the last few years, we have been very aggressive in going after grants. I think you keep seeing some of the different things that we're doing to generate additional money for the fire department, for the police department, for our operations, so that we can continue operating at the level that we are. We even decided this past year that it was important for us to support our police department by bringing in body cameras for our police officers. We all know how difficult that job is these days, and we want to make sure we support those men and women as much as we can. But we want to recognize that, again, when you get these grants, oftentimes they need matching money. And if you don't have a strong operating budget, if you're not maintaining a steady stream of revenue, you're going to have a really hard time going after this new money so that we can extend the dollars that we get in order to continue our operations. So with that, again, I just want to ask you to consider voting yes to renew our 3 mil levy on November 2nd. No new taxes, just a continuation of the services that we provide. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you again, Larry. Thank you very much. Again, renewal of 3 mil, $1.7 million. Terrific. Next, we will have representative from the Mohan County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Emily Martinez, speak about their levy. Emily?
Good evening. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you to the Boardman Civic Association for holding this event. My name is Emily Martinez, and I'm the Director of Community Services for the Mahoning County Board of Developmental Disabilities. This levy is a renewal. It is a 2 mil, and it is issue number 2. It is also not a new tax, and we also ask for a yes vote. It's a very important levy for us. We have not asked for additional funds for over 20 years. This levy was first put on the ballot in 1992 and brings in $25,877,000 in funds all across this community for individuals with developmental disabilities and their families. It's a 5-year renewal levy, which means, again, no new taxes. 56% of the Mahoning County Board of Developmental Disabilities operating budget is funded through this levy. It is essential for people with developmental disabilities across this great community. Each mill of this levy brings in $3 million in federal and state funds. We're always good stewards of the funds that we bring in and use every dollar in the most cost-effective way possible. The Mahoning County Developmental Disabilities Board offers school services at Leonard Kurtz School, early intervention services to help our youngest youth across this community and their families. We also offer transportation services and have 45 social workers that help to coordinate and fund services for people with developmental disabilities. These services are offered throughout someone's lifetime, and they include accessibility equipment, home modifications for safety, workshop and employment services, transportation services, and residential services for those who need them. During the pandemic, our services have not stopped. They've drastically increased. We've helped individuals and their families remain safe at home, return to work, obtain services safely in their homes and the community, and provided personal protective equipment all across our community to keep people safe. With this levy's combined funds, we are able to draw down federal and state government funds and are able to provide over $70 million worth of services each year in this community. These services help individuals with developmental disabilities live their best life, and they also help people in our community have excellent paying jobs, helping individuals and their families every day. For an average homeowner with a $100,000 home, the annual cost is only $37.16. We serve over 1,900 individuals in this community, and again, we're issue number 2. That is not a new tax, and we hope that you consider voting for this very important levy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Emily. Again, a renewal of the, it's issue number 2 on the ballot, and renewal since 1992. Pretty significant. It's a mark of a good, mature, and supportive community that supports those in need. So thank you very much. Okay, now we have, speaking with us this evening, will be Mahoning County Engineer Pat Ginnetti on the Mahoning County sales tax. Pat?
Thank you, everybody. Mark told me I had 30 minutes. I don't know where he got 3 from. And similar to Trustee Moliterno, I also had a full head of hair on September 20th, 1985. So thank you. I'm Pat Ginnetti, Mahoning County Engineer. Before I get started, I always like to ask, show of hands, how many people know how much of their property tax goes to the county engineer for roads? 0. County engineer gets $0 from property tax. All 88 counties are funded the same way, gas tax and license plate. 100% of our budget is comprised of gas tax and license plate. 11% of the state gas tax is divided 88 ways. Every county engineer gets the same amount of money. So I always like to put this into perspective. Mahoning County is the 5th largest county in the state of Ohio with respect to road miles. We have 483 miles. Columbiana County, our sister to the south, has 169 county miles. 2/3 of their roads are tar and chip. 100% of our roads are asphalt. Franklin County, Columbus, has 254 county miles. We have twice the amount of miles as Columbus. Their budget's $54 million, our budget's 11. Columbiana County's budget is 8. We get the same amount of gas tax. So one of the things we continually try to do is, as our budget remains stagnant and prices continue to go up, we have to get creative and try to find ways to do more roads, do more bridges with limited resources. The new infrastructure bill that's coming out is providing more money for us to go after. They're not handing us money. It's going to be competitive. With my budget not changing, where do we come up with the local share? So that's where we got into a lot of discussion with the Township Trustees Association on what can we do to get more done. So we try to decide people certainly don't like to get additional fees or taxes, but the most fair way to increase our budget and enable us to do more was a sales tax. 35 to 40% of the sales tax generated in this county comes from out-of-county residents. 0.25% sales tax over 5 years generates about $9 million. We decided $4 million would come to the county engineer strictly for roads. $4 million would go to the townships to be used for their roadway infrastructure. The additional $1 million would be used on county-owned infrastructure in the cities and villages. We have 25 bridges in the city of Youngstown. A lot of people don't realize that. I have 6 in the city of Struthers, 2 in Lowville. So we have structures within the municipal limits where I'm not permitted to pave a road there, but we still have to maintain these bridges. And so our goal is to make sure that the entire county benefits from this. So again, there's a handout at each table that gives kind of a brief introduction to this and some description. On the back is a color map showing what we can do in 5 years. The red are county roads. The green is what the townships can do. And as you can see, Boardman is almost highlighted all in green. That's because of the density of the roads. We have a more refined map that shows the individual roads, but our goal is to get every road in this county done. In a 5-year period, like I said, we can have every county road paved since I started in 2013. One of the first things I did was I had our roads graded when I took office. We had what's called a PCR study, pavement condition rating. That is a method, hi Dan, almost done, a method devised by ODOT. 2/3 of our roads scored D or F. Well, that was unacceptable to me, so I've been aggressively trying to figure out how we can get all of our roads done, and this is what we've come up with. I've also attached a copy of 2 tax duplicates so everybody can see where the money goes. And looking at this, it seems like the probate court gets most of our tax, no, I'm kidding. No, it just gives you an idea, regardless of where you live, regardless of how big your lot is, how your property taxes are divided up. So with that, I don't know if you had questions for me. Sure.
Okay, very good. Yes, thank you, Pat. What you had talked about was an approximation, of course, sales tax.
Yes.
Up and down. But you talked about approximately $9 million, about $4 million of that, a little less than half, would go to the townships.
Correct.
14 townships in Mahoney County. Can you tell us the idea of how that would be broken out? Does the money go to the townships for use, or how exactly would that work? Right here.
By law, I'm the township's engineer. So what we do is we worked with each township and figured out a method to evenly and fairly distribute the money. So we talked about, let's look at how many road miles every township has and make it proportional. So myself and each of the townships will work together to come up with a 5-year plan, which we have done. If I was able to bring the full slideshow presentation, you could see what we've done in each township. So every year, we'll put together a package, combined both county and township. That way, we're cutting down on mobilization costs. We're receiving the bulk buy discount by all of us partnering together and enable us to do these projects. So the money will come to the county, then we will, I guess, effectively distribute that to the townships based on road miles. That way, like I said, it's more fairly proportionally distributed to everybody. And all 14 townships agreed with how we were going to do this to ensure that everybody gets their needs taken care of each year.
Are those monies to be used for county roads within the townships?
No.
Or
The $4 million that goes to the townships are to be used for township roads. The $4 million coming to the county engineer is going to be used on county roads within each township, and our goal is to be in every township every year. I didn't think it was fair that the county engineer took all $9 million and the townships got nothing, the cities and villages got nothing. So collectively, we came up with this plan to almost divide the money in half between myself and the 14 townships and try to get as much done as we can.
Can you say how much projected to come to work in township roads in addition to the county roads that you'll be doing in Boardman?
It's almost $1 million. Again, and that's based on the $8 to $9 million projection, and that was a number that was based on history of how the sales tax has grown from the last 10 years. That number was provided to me from downtown.
Okay, terrific. Very good. Yes, thanks.
Thank you, everybody.
Very good. Thank you, Pat, for being here, and we went a little bit with the questions there, but this is a new sales tax, and so we wanted to explore that a little bit more, get some clarification on some questions there. So next we will proceed to the Bourbon Township Trustees race. There are 4 candidates, 2 to elect. The candidates are Brad Calhoun, Tom Costello, Tabitha Fitzpatrick, and Jason Pavone. We would ask that all 4 of you please come up here and have seats, and they will then proceed in alphabetical order. I won't come up and introduce each one of you, but proceed in alphabetical order to introduce yourselves, give your 3-minute candidate speech. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank the Civic Association for hosting tonight's event. I'm seeking re-election so our team can continue to work on projects that will improve our community. Currently, I serve as chairman of the board, and I'm very proud of what our team has accomplished the past 4 years. In the police department, we've implemented records management systems that improve transparency and efficiency. With the grant money, we've upgraded officers' personal protective gear and installed armored door panels in all the patrol cars. We've enhanced our social media presence. We've purchased body cameras for officer safety and accountability. The department dispatches for 12 agencies. We take over 125,000 calls a year, and we respond to 70,000 calls a year with our police department. Our officers are professional, busy, and most likely very visible to all of you. There's not a community I can drive through, that, especially Boardman, I can see a police officer from one end of the township to the other. And that makes me feel good. In zoning, our first zoning resolution was passed in 1948. Our team worked with all the stakeholders, and I'm happy to say that we completely rewrote the entire zoning resolution, and it took effect January 1st of this year. It was the first rewrite since 1948. Our fire department created a tactical EMS team consisting of paramedics who render aid to police and community during unusual conditions. If we had an active shooter, they would come in. If we had a hostage situation, they would come in and be able to provide those services. Probably one of the things that we're most proud of in our fire department is the ISO rating. For 50 years, we've had an ISO rating of 5, and that is what that means is how well protected are you by your fire department? Well, we now have an ISO rating of 3. We've actually reduced it twice. And that puts us in the top 14% of the country for fire departments. So that's something we're very proud of. Our fire department responds to over 5,000 calls per year. They're dedicated and well-trained for every emergency. Road department, they maintain 145 miles of roads. So if that passes, we will get $1 million extra. We will continue to put the same amount of money we were putting, but we would put $1 million extra in the road paving every single year. We have 4,000 catch basins, 2 cemeteries, and they take care of all of our township vehicles. Over the past 4 years, the road department has received $873,000 in road resurfacing grants, $53,000 in demolition grants, $40,000 in sign replacement, and $1 million in FEMA grants to help with our water infrastructure. We work cooperatively with the Boardman schools. Probably have seen our brand new fire station. We replaced the fire station that was built in 1926. We did a swap of land between the school, who has they have a bus garage, and we have a nice new fire station. Recently, the school partnered with the ABC Water District and the Township to create a water retention park at the old Market Street Elementary School. We're impacting 1,400 homes. And just to go a little bit quicker, cutting some of this, my pledge to the residents, fiscal responsibility by balancing the budget, as we have done for 12 years with a carryover, continued infrastructure improvements, preserving strong safety services, provide a responsive workforce that includes all elected officials. So I thank you for the opportunity to serve.
Good evening. Much like Brad, I would like to thank the Boardman Civic Association for sponsoring this very important forum And I'd like to add what a pleasure it is to be in our own green oasis right here in Boardman. Brad gave so many statistics about the township. I'm going to talk a little bit about me and what I've done. I've had the honor and privilege of representing Boardman as one of your trustees for the past 12 years. My involvement in our community started way back when our daughter played soccer and I was a referee for the Boardman Soccer Association. Wouldn't want to do it today. I led the efforts to get the streetlights on Market Street from Midlothian to 224 back in the late 90s, and the American flag displays that line that same corridor every summer. I am so proud to have co-chaired with John Darnell the fundraising campaign to build the Boardman Performing Arts Center. Also, I'm a past board member and past president of this very group, the Boardman Civic Association. As a trustee, I have always been fiscally conservative while maintaining outstanding services. Thank you for outlining those so well, Brad. I've been able to, we, and I say we, Brad talks about the team, and the team is Brad, myself, Larry Moliterno, and Bill Light. We've been able to bring staffing levels in both police and fire departments to appropriate levels. We've built a much-needed new fire station and continue to properly equip our departments. I believe the best way to accomplish positive growth and impact in our community is to work cooperatively with others. I am the past president of the Mahoning County Township Association and continue to serve on the executive committee of CLOUT, which is the Coalition of Large Ohio Urban Townships. There are over 1,300 townships in the state. Just 90 have similar budgets, staffing, and populations as Boardman. So our ability to share issues, solutions, and information with comparable townships while moving forward has been invaluable. By working closely with my fellow trustees, ABC Water District, Boardman Schools, Mahoning County Commissioners, County Engineer, and the state of Ohio, we are finally finding solutions to the years of water issues that have plagued our community for so long. This type of collaboration was evident last week with the announcement of the Stormwater Park at the current Market Street Elementary School. Boardman Township has progressed and has done very well with the current board working together. I'm asking for your continued support in your vote on Tuesday, November the 2nd. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Tabitha Fitzpatrick. I'm running for Boardman Township trustee this year. I'm a clinical therapist and I'm a licensed social worker. I graduated from Boardman High School in 2005, and I have a son who attends Glenwood Junior High School. I have years' experience advocating for individuals, families, groups, and organizations. I have experience with research, program development, and policy. So why a social worker? Social workers provide needed advocacy for communities. I always believe social workers should be more vocal and involved at the macro level. We have personal knowledge of the needs of our client community, so it only makes sense that we should be contributing to policy and community development. The purpose of advocacy within community is to protect and improve the interests of the people who are members of the community. My three main priorities for Boardman Township are the flooding and sewer issues, continued funding for our police and fire departments, and community accessibility, including emergency medical services. The township received American Rescue Plan Act funds, and I would want to continue to support those endeavors for infrastructure expansion and stormwater projects. We can use that money to support public health expenditures, so address negative economic impacts caused by COVID-19. We can provide premium pay for essential workers or invest in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. When I was up here 3 years ago, I said this before, I think we should be partnering with YSU and creating internships and capstone projects to involve innovative ideology and concepts to provide solid solutions to help eradicate our flooding and sewer issues for the homeowners. Also, I support emergency medical services for Boardman Township. There's Ohio Fire training grants that provide reimbursements for training classes. There's an Ohio EMS grant program, and the program is broken up into 4 different grants. I'm trying to make time, sorry. The Ohio State Fire Marshal also offers a revolving loan program, and that program was created by the Ohio General Assembly to assist local governments in funding certain fire department major related expenses, and that includes EMS equipment. Funding will also be available for police departments in Ohio to update and implement officer-worn body cameras. Boardman Township has already accessed some of those grants and that money. Governor Mike DeWine announced that the state will be awarded an additional $5 million worth of grants for local departments, which will be a part of the 2022-2023 operating budget. Boardman Township trustees unanimously approved the purchase of body camera equipment for Boardman Police Department officers. If we can access more grant money to further support officer-worn body cameras, maybe we can use the funding that was going to be used for the equipment, the non-grant money, to alternatively be used to offer competitive wages to the Boardman Township Police Department. Sorry. I'm also interested in improving communication, accountability, and honesty with intentions, plans, and follow through among the Boardman Township Trustee Board and the community. And I want to thank everybody who supported me this year. Thank you.
Good evening. I want to thank the Boardman Civic Association for having me speak on my candidacy tonight. My name is Jason J.P. Pavone. I am running for Boardman trustee. I guess that's obvious. Customer service is where I want to start. I think we can get better customer service from the township at large and maybe even the trustees, and I'm going to be part of that solution. Just a minor point on this, but not everyone can make a trustee meeting. So as part of when I become a trustee, 2 listening sessions per month at different places and at different times. Some people work a 3 to 11 shift, can't make the meeting, so maybe we better have something on Saturday morning or maybe something during Thursday night football at BW3s. The other major issue that we've talked about tonight is the flooding in the ABC Water District. And several people have talked to me about this. Flooding is never going to go away in Boardman 100%. We've paved over too much concrete, too much asphalt, right? So if anybody hears anybody tells you that, I'll go back to the hair joke. It's like I'm saying I'm going to wake up in the morning with a full head of hair. Just won't happen. What we can do, though, is take efforts to mitigate and lessen the damage, and I believe the ABC Water District is doing that. The issues I have with the ABC Water District is it was formed and became a utility. That meant they could assess fees on the property owners of Boardman without their consent. Taxation without representation. We should be allowed to vote on whether those fees are imposed on us, and we should be allowed to vote on whether those fees get raised. Let me be clear, there is no plan to raise fees at this time. Also, something that should change with the ABC Water District. Currently, we have 3 people, 1 from each township, sitting on the board. We need to put residents of the townships on that board, maybe 2 per township. Some of these people that have had flooding issues, I'm sure would be happy to take time out of their month to discuss the issues and have some input, and they need to have voting rights on that board. Taxes. I do not support any new taxes or levies on the residents of Boardman Township. The one exception to that is the Mahoning County Board of Developmental Disability. This includes approval of tax breaks for businesses, tax abatements. I thought the tax abatement for Southern Park Mall was ridiculous. It's already a business here. What are you trying to attract? He's gonna update the mall. There's no reason to give him a tax abatement. Businesses should pay taxes right along with everybody else in the township. Finally, policing. I want to work with the police, work with the fire department. I have some issues about, let's see if we can look at different ways to generate money for the police department, meaning that, charging for services for non-residents, I think could be something looked at. Recently, I was at Walmart 2 days in a row. I know it's terrible, but both times I was there were 2 cruisers there. And, they're handling something that I'm sure is important, but what else is going on that they can't get to? I think if we have a high frequency like that, we should look at maybe implementing some kind of fee on those businesses. If you go over 20 calls per month, you maybe need to look at a fee. Also, I think speeding is the issue on some roads in the township. Glenwood Avenue is one, Applewood Boulevard, Hitchcock Road I know is another one because I live over that direction. It's a safety issue. There's kids waiting for the school bus. I know there's a traffic camera. There's a traffic camera. Doesn't always do a good job. I think we need a patrols where we could find those speeders. Once again, vote JP for Boardman trustee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all very much for your introductions. First question, and the responses will be in reverse alphabetical order. So that would be Pavone, Fitzpatrick, Costello, Calhoun. The Bourbon Township 2021 5-year plan will be expiring. What are your specific top 3 priorities for a new 5-year plan?
Okay, let's see how this works. I would, as a trustee, I would start to move the trustee toward Boardman becoming a city. And I think I don't need top 3. That encompasses it all. I think it gives us better control over what goes on in the township. I think it gives us also a better ability to serve the residents in a manner they deserve.
Hi, I've already touched base on this. My 3 main priorities are the flooding and the sewer issues, funding our police and fire department, and community accessibility. And I forgot to add, I'd like to see a sidewalk put in alongside Southern Boulevard from Market Street to Western Reserve Road. I think it's a safety concern. I see kids walking up and down Southern Boulevard often, and they need a safer experience traveling and making their way through the township.
The 2021 plan that was mentioned actually is something that came up with Brad and Larry and myself back in, I think, 10 or 11, and we wrote a 5-year business plan, and then we extended it, and we're working on the replacement right now. So this is something that never existed before the 3 of us got together. You want to know my concerns? I want to continue to find solutions to the water. There are solutions. We're not going to solve all the problems. We can't solve them as fast as we want to, but we need to find solutions. Continue to seek grant dollars. Our department heads, Jason and Stephanie Landers, have done a wonderful job of seeking out and finding additional dollars to make our tax dollars go further. And lastly, I believe strongly that we continue to work with others. You heard me say earlier about how we worked with so many groups to make the Market Street School project come together. That project is almost going to be 100% funded by others. That's the type of collaboration that needs to take place for this community to continue to grow.
3 priorities would be infrastructure, obviously our roads. We have a lot of roads, 145 miles. Costs us about $100,000 to do 1 mile of road. So at that pace, we're going to be really far behind. So seeking those grant dollars to build our infrastructure. Flooding, water, trying to help even residents. There's these backflow programs that they have at the county that he'll pay up to a certain amount, almost half, and we need to educate our people on what they can do to help themselves. There is money out there for them. We need to do that. We need to be better at helping our residents help themselves. And if we can be partners with that. And then I would say continue to maintain our police, our fire, our zoning, and our roads, the services that they provide. I believe they're very responsive, but we can be better. And that would be our goals for the next 5 years, is to get better at what we're doing.
Very good, thank you all. Our second question, and again, we'll flip that order again, so it would be Calhoun, Costello, Fitzpatrick, and Pavone. Austintown, Boardman, and Canfield Townships created the ABC Water and Stormwater District. Boardman and Canfield property owners have been assessed and are paying these special assessment taxes, while Austintown property owners have not. Why is there a difference in assessments, And will taxes paid by Boardman property owners be solely used for Boardman projects?
The three entities did create this, I believe, in 2009. Tom and I took office in 2010, and the money generated in Bourbon Township stays in Bourbon Township. The only exception would be is if we did some sort of collaboration with Canfield that might impact both communities, then we might both put some money into it, but almost every dollar would stay in Bourbon Township. The difference between ABC Water District and Bourbon Township Road Department, which you would think be the group that would deal with water problems, is as a township, we're not permitted to make improvements on private property. But as an utility, ABC Water District, they are permitted to go on the private property, and they are able to go after a lot more grant money as an utility than we are able. We can't tap some money. But they have already generated probably as much as we have collected. So they have doubled the amount of money that we're able to put back into the infrastructure regarding water and retention.
I will just reiterate that Boardman dollars stay in Boardman. Canfield dollars stay in Canfield. Austintown said they don't have flooding, so they didn't need to issue a fee at this time. ABC Water is considered a utility under Section 6119 of the Ohio Revised Code, which gives them the authority and ability to do so much more than Township is allowed to do. Brad touched on, unless we do a collaborative project, I have people in Huntington calling me because they have water problems coming down the hill. Water doesn't know it's supposed to stop at Tippecanoe Road. It crosses over and causes problems in Huntington. We are working right now with Canfield to get them to do some projects that will alleviate some of our flooding issues for some of our residents. Collaboration.
I agree that Boardman Township finances should absolutely stay in Boardman Township. I think if we can keep an open partnership with ABC and like it was previously stated, they can access different monies than the township can. And I would like to see eventually a program, maybe reimbursement, maybe a small grant for homeowners to help reimburse any kind of out-of-pocket expenses they've contributed to the flooding and the sewer issues that are contributing to Boardman's flooding and sewer issues.
So I kind of covered this when I got to talk the first time, but yeah, these are all things, the money stays in Boardman. It's a collaboration between three counties, but like I said, I understand that the utility aspect of it helps them gain access to do some of these projects. But like I said, it's a fee that was not voted on. And, they created this, and that's great. But I think everybody has the right to vote whether we're taxed or not, just like we are with the sales tax for the roads. So if you're going to do that, you need to carve that bit out of the funding and say, look, we're gonna make the commitment to Boardman residents to give them the say whether they're going to vote for this fee or not for this fee to help fund the ABC Water District. And the same thing goes if it would get passed. The same thing goes with any time the fee might need to be raised. Once again, that's not in consideration at this time. Please don't misquote me. But I think it's important that we carve that out and give the residents the opportunity to speak on whether they want taxed on that fee or not.
Okay, thank you to all our township trustee candidates. We have no further questions for you. We release you back to your seats. We wish you all good luck. Again, 4 candidates, 2 to elect. So next, we invite our Boardman Local School District Board of Education candidates to come forward, please. Anthony Buchman, Vickie Davis, Rick Fryda, and John Landers. I'm sorry. No, I wrote down Rick. Yeah.
Let me call.
Yeah. Okay. And again, the order will be alphabetical. Anthony Buchman, Vickie Davis, John Fryda, and John Landers.
Good evening, everybody. That's my beautiful wife over there, Sherry. I want to thank the Boardman Civic Association for opening their doors to the candidates so we can properly introduce ourselves tonight. The VSTN production, the servers, Thank you very much for this evening. My name is Anthony Bookman, and I am running for a seat on the Board of Education in Boardman Schools. I grew up on the south side until the age of 10 when my parents and 3 younger brothers moved to Boardman on Mill Creek Boulevard. I began 5th grade at Center Middle School and graduated from Boardman High School in 1995. After graduation, I signed up for the U.S. Navy and served from 1995 to 1998 as a boiler tech, machinist mate, and serviced the ship's emergency diesel generators. After the military, I attended ETI Technical School for heating and air conditioning and refrigeration, and earned my EPA license. I am currently a journeyman with the local union, 396 Plumbers and Pipe Fitters. I am married to my beautiful wife of nearly 10 years, that's Sherry Bookman, who is a licensed social worker and parent advocate. We have 4 beautiful kids, 19, 18, 17, and 16. Thank you. My daughter's 19. Her name is Zoe. She's going to be a vet tech at Kent State Trumbull. My stepson, who I have grown to have a wonderful relationship with, he also just signed up for the United States Navy, and he's going to be a Navy diver. And he also boxes for Jack Lowe. My son is a senior at Western Reserve High School. He's the starting catcher for them. He actually batted .481 last year as a catcher, and I was super proud. And then our youngest, my stepson, Isaiah, who goes to Potential Development. I am currently an alternate on the Boardman Zoning Board of Appeals, and I'm also the president of the McKinley Cigar Club, and we have monthly fundraisers for local candidates. I believe I bring a unique perspective to the schools and the board because of my trades background. The trades and the military are just as important as college and must be brought up to a much more level playing field for the simple fact not all kids learn the same, and what the trades and military offer in the end is a great education with very little to no educational debt. I look forward to working with the administration, board, teachers, guidance counselors, and students in creating better opportunities for a more successful future as they transition from young adults to adults in the real world. The issues I have chosen to work on and towards revolve around the acronym STAT. Just a little backstory, my mom's a nurse. We always heard STAT as a kid. Go get your room clean, STAT, go cut the grass, STAT. So I figured I'd use it to my advantage now. So it's safety, transparency, accountability, and trades, and they're on the tables if you want to take a look, and I'll be available afterwards to talk if anybody wants to talk with me. I am very much a people person and look forward to having the opportunity to serve the schools and the community. And again, I am available after this forum to talk to anybody who would like to speak with me and get to know me better. Once again, thank you for your time.
Good evening. I'd like to also thank the Boardman Civic Associations and its members for the opportunity to speak before you tonight. For those who do not know me, I am a lifetime resident of Boardman and a graduate of Boardman schools. Both my children are also proud alumni. I hold an accounting degree from ISU, and I've worked as an administrative assistant for the Boardman Fire Department for the past 19 years. My background includes finance, policy development, grant writing, strategic planning, and a full awareness of the needs and challenges of this community. I'm actively involved with the Boardman Civil Service Commission, Boardman Fund for Educational Excellence, and the Boardman Alumni Association. I stand before you today confident in my leadership, experience, commitment, and knowledge as we strive to provide the best education for our Spartans. To be a highly effective school board member, you need experience, dedication, compassion, thick skin, community leadership, and the capacity to make impactful decisions. For the past 8 years, I have effectively dedicated my time and energy necessary to attend meetings, workshops, and review reports from the administration. I seldom miss an opportunity to support our staff and students by attending school and community events. I've continued to participate in continuing education seminars to improve my decision-making skills. We have been deeply involved in several projects, increasing the awareness of the skilled trades, redevelopment of the Southern Park Mall. We continue to advocate for fair school funding, and most recently, the formation of the Forest Lawn Stormwater Park. Most importantly, as your board president for the past 2 years, our administrative team, my fellow board members, and I have navigated our district through the pandemic. We were faced with unprecedented challenges and ever-changing rules and protocols. Once again, the board and the administration worked together to develop and implement strategies to deliver the best education for our students, all while focusing on the safety for all members of our district. It has been my privilege and honor to serve the families of Boardman Township and the Boardman schools, and with your support, I would like to continue to serve my community. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Fryda, and it has been a privilege and honor to serve our community on the Boardman Local School Board for nearly the last 4 years. Thank you, Boardman Civic Association, for hosting this event. I'm a 1985 graduate of Cardinal Mooney High School and went on to study business at YSU. The best decision of my life is when I married Marie Bendick Fryda 32 years ago. Boardman has always been our home. We are blessed with 3 boys, now young men. Our twins, Brian and Zach, attended Stadium Drive, Boardman Center, and Center Middle School, and graduated from Boardman High School in 2015. Both boys have graduated from college with their bachelor's degrees. Zach from Westminster and Brian from YSU. Zach is currently in his 3rd year of medical school at Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, and Brian in his 1st year of physical therapy doctorate program at Youngstown State. Both boys were involved in many school clubs and teams at Boardman High School: National Honor Society, Link Crew, band, drama, soccer, baseball, basketball, and many others that Boardman had to offer. Our youngest son, Tommy, also attended Stadium Drive, Boardman Glenwood Middle School, and graduated from Boardman High School in 2020. Tommy was a kicker for the Spartan football team, in addition to playing soccer, basketball, and baseball, and participating in Link Crew and National Honor Society, just like his older brothers. Tommy is currently a sophomore at Youngstown State University, studying environmental science. I'm proud to say that all 3 of our sons are successful of the tremendous support from faith, family, and friends, but also because of the incredible academic preparation they receive from our educators, administrators, and support staff at Boardman schools. My wife, Marie, teaches at Highland Middle School as an intervention specialist. She was a very active parent, serving on PTA boards in the elementary, middle, and high school while our sons were students. I was also an active parent, serving on many organizations: the Boardman Schools for Educational Excellence, the Boardman Park Project, the Smith Homestead Planning Committee, Spartan Dugout Club, president for 5 years, Boardman Basketball 6-man Club, served as vice president, Boardman High School Soccer Booster, served as treasurer, Boardman Community Baseball, coached for 15 years, Boardman Soccer Association, coached for 10 years. I have been employed at Compco Industries for the last 34 years, where I am the global purchaser for 3 different companies. In this role, I have the budgetary responsibility and feel this skill set has served us well on the board. I am proud to be an active part of this board and the administrative team, continuing to manage our way through the pandemic that is still with us. Doing what is best for our students and staff will always be our top priority. I am especially proud of our efforts to close Market Street Elementary School. This was a difficult, emotional decision that has been discussed for over 20 years, and this board and administrative team came together to do the right thing for not only the schools, but for the community. I believe everyone here shares some common ground. We all appreciate a lifelong love of education and want Boardman schools to continue to be the leader in the academics, arts, and athletics. I would appreciate the opportunity to accomplish this mission, as I was elected for, to support our continuous, never-ending pursuit of excellence in education. With that, I am asking for your vote on November 2nd. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is John Landers, and I'm running for re-election to the Boardman Board of Education. Thank you to the Boardman Civic Association for sponsoring and hosting this event, and thank you to the BSTN crew here filming this event. Being in BSTN as a student is something that greatly impacted my life, and I'm incredibly thankful that we continue to strengthen that program so that current and future students can have that opportunity. 12 years ago, which doesn't really seem like that long ago, I stood in front of many of you in this room and made my case for election to the board. I offered the unique combination of being the youngest member of the board while currently being the most experienced board member. I'm an active, engaged, and visible board member, attending and conversing with students and parents throughout the district, from quiz bowl tournaments to drama performances, musical concerts like Project Mayhem, and sporting events. I provide steady and experienced leadership, and am often reminded that the only constant is change. I'm a Boardman graduate from the class of 2000 and attended Case Western Reserve University, obtaining a bachelor's in computer science and a master's in engineering and management. Following several years in Fairfax, Virginia doing technology consulting, I returned to Boardman. Over the last 12 years, I've worked at Case Western Reserve University in a variety of roles while currently serving as the Director of IT Service Management. As a member of the board, we've worked closely with our township on the bus garage and fire station project that's been previously mentioned, as well as with the township and the water district on the recently announced Forest Lawn Stormwater Project Park. We also continue to work with our township and police department for security and school resource officers, and I pledge to continue to pursue a strong and collaborative partnership with the township and other Boardman Township entities. Our district was also one of the early and strong advocates for the Ohio Schools Fair Funding Plan, which will remove Boardman from being a capped school district and better fund public school districts across the state of Ohio. I and other board members have worked closely with the Boardman Boosters on the stadium project, which has been generously funded by local community businesses and individuals like all of us. Over the next several years, we'll continue to update our strategic plan through community engagement and determine how we continue to evolve learning and our facilities. We'll continue to raise the quality of education in the classroom and through our new online Spartan Academy. Every day, I work with technology and the delivery of education over several channels, and will share my knowledge and insights as we continue to advance technology usage throughout the district. Recently, I've started a scholarship which I award at our annual Honors Assembly. That is a great opportunity to pay it forward to our student leaders, and something I enjoy doing every day. Leading isn't easy, and there are challenges and rewards of being a leader in the community, especially in the community that you grew up in. We all know that. If re-elected, I pledge that we will continue to provide the high-quality education in the Boardman schools. We will continue to offer a wide range of opportunities that allow our students to be prepared for whatever path they choose in life. We will continue to raise our game and innovate as education continues to evolve. I pledge to continue to be an active, engaged, and visible member of the Board of Education. Though I know they won't like it, I'm going to thank my parents who are in attendance and played a major role in my life. And lastly, I would greatly appreciate your vote on Tuesday, November 2nd, and go Spartans.
Okay, thank you all for your opening statements. The first question, answers will be 1 minute each and in reverse alphabetical order. So that would be Landers, Fryda, Davis, Bookman. The school district recently transferred a 14.6 acre parcel and buildings to the ABC Water District without compensation. What do you propose for use of the remaining parcel and any future sales of school district buildings?
Well, for the remaining parcel, we had worked with the township and the county to have that remaining parcel replatted so that it could be separated into what was provided to the water district. We plan to follow the proper public process, which will be an auction to sell that remaining piece of land. We feel that it has a strong commercial appeal, and that is, I think something we look forward to do in the near future. Any public land sale that the district would do would have to follow Ohio Revised Code, which will likely lead it to an auction if we chose to sell it. I think we continue to have strong relationships with the township, and the recent example of the Forest Lawn Stormwater Park is a project that will positively impact, I think, about 1,400 homes, and we felt it made sense for all of Boardman to be part of that project.
This was a collaborative effort between the Boardman Schools, ABC Water, and Boardman Township's trustees. This was a no-brainer. This is going to help out 1,400 families with flooding, and it also saves the school district about $500,000 a year by us not having to maintain that school. The other part of this is when the ABC Water District turns that into a park, it's going to give our value up front to the parcel up front. It's going to be worth more. So I think it was great that we did that, and we'll see what holds for what comes out front over there.
There's not much more I can add but what John and John just said, but we are looking forward to what bids come through for that property, and we're looking forward to enhancing that side of town and obviously that portion of Market Street. Being totally involved in the alumni, we also want to be sensitive to the memories of that school, and I've talked to Jason, and we are going to save the bricks. We're going to be able to give those out to any alumni that would like them. We'd also like to look forward to possibly moving some of those bricks over to our campus setting over at the high school in Glenwood, and possibly bringing up a pavilion that would involve those bricks. So we're looking forward to the future. Obviously, the park's going to take a couple years to build, and we're hoping the Rotary, the Boardman Foundation will get involved, and we'll do some enhancements as far as the pollination stations, the benches, the trestle. That needs to be also built. So thank you.
So again, I'm a trades guy, and I would like to see like somebody come in for like continuing education training for all sorts of trades. And I'm not talking about computer trades, I'm talking about get your hands dirty kind of trades. I know you have your union and stuff like that, but not everybody wants to go union. Not everybody wants to go spend $20,000, $30,000 on a 2-year, 1-year education when it comes to like a technical school. But I think you can actually bring that together from going from a junior, senior, if they take the proper courses and then move it on to that. So I'd like to see a private company come in there and build and do some continuing education on the trades.
Okay, thank you all very much. Our second question, and this will be back in the original order. Responses will be Bookman, Davis, Fryda, Landers. What is the annual expense to the school district of open enrollment? And what is your position on the consideration of the Boardman schools implementing an open enrollment policy?
So I look at Austintown and their open enrollment, and they seem to be doing pretty well. So I'm actually for open enrollment at Boardman. I think it'll bring in extra funds for the kids coming in. So that's it.
The annual expense for open enrollment actually has changed just a little bit because of the fair funding formula has changed. A lot of the vouchers will be coming out of the state. We're going to be getting those expenses in October, so that will be reports that we're going to look at from our treasurer, Terry Armstrong. As far as open enrollment, it does not work for Boardman. I know our current board, we absolutely will not look at it. It is not going to happen as far as when the 5 of us are still here. So thank you.
In the 2021 school year, we had approximately 200 students at a value of $6,000 each, or $1.2 million was given out. I am not for open enrollment. As long as we are fiscally responsible, we have no need for open enrollment.
No, Mr. Fryda obviously stated the numbers. You know, that's a significant amount of money to our budget and to any budget. You know, personally, I am not in favor of open enrollment, but we are a school district that is in a community. If the community has a feeling that they want to explore that decision, we will obviously, listen to stakeholders and review that data, but personally, I'm not in favor of it at this point, and I don't think it will work for our district.
Okay, very good. Those are all the questions we had for you, so you are released back to your seats. Thank you very much. Well, thank you to all the speakers presenting here this evening, to all our attendees, and to Tommy Testa, Dan Segul, Meg Harris, for keeping us so organized, George Ferris for promoting our event here this evening, BSTN and area media outlets for their promotion and coverage, and Karen McCallum and Boardman Park for hosting us. We truly have had a very informative evening. We hope you have considered it as such as well. And please join us for our next event, which will be October 18th. That would be our Community Awards Dinner Meeting. We'll present new and refurbished building awards, community service, and Citizen of the Year awards. An informed electorate is the responsibility of all Americans, which we owe to the forefathers and the generations who came before us. Those individuals who at great personal risk formed this nation and saw to its stewardship over time, as well as those who have served our country in a military capacity, all to preserve our way of life. We certainly hope you will consider exercising your freedoms this fall in the November general election and in many more ways in the future. On behalf of the Boardman Civic Association, we say thank you, God bless you, and good night. We are adjourned.